Hi everyone. Today, as promised, I was going to do a video explaining the Electoral College. A lot of people ask, what is the Electoral College? Does my vote count? And or how does it work? Or is the Electoral College, are they people? Is it a place? What is it? Well, we're going to explain that now. A couple of things you need to know before we get started. There's a reason for this. Every state has 2 senators, regardless of how big. Okay, and they also have representatives. That is based on the population. A smaller state has less representation. A larger state has more. That's because of the sole fact that when they were creating the Constitution, some wanted equal representation per state. Well, you can see, that it's not fair if we all have the same representation. Let's say Rhode Island is very small, and it's not fair, the amount of people there, and they have the same representation in Congress as something, let's say, like Texas or California. So the larger states wanted representation based on population, and the smaller states said it wouldn't be fair. So they come up with a system where your senators, every state has 2 elected senators, regardless of the size, and they all have the representatives are based on the population of that state, on how many representatives and districts they have. Now, I'll tell you that to tell you this. For the Electoral College, the electors are people. They are actually people. So the way it's set up is based on, written in the Constitution, Article 2, Section 1, Clause 2, states that no senator or representative can be, or anyone holding office can be an elector. But they are chosen by the parties of that state. So let's say Louisiana, the Republican Party are going to choose a certain number of electors, and that is based, by the way, on the amount of senators and representatives combined. So a state that has, let's say, 8 representatives and 2 senators, they're going to have 10 electors. That's how the Electoral College works, on how many electors there are. So we don't know who these people are. The each party, let's say if Louisiana has 8 per se, the Republicans are going to pick 8 electors. The Democrats are going to pick 8 electors. Now, when that state goes out and vote, like we're going to do for the general election on November the 8th, then the let's say it's the Republicans that win. More people voted for Donald Trump. Then basically what we're voting for are the electors. We're not actually voting for, let's say, Donald Trump. You're voting for the electors, and they will actually cast their vote for Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, depending on who wins, the Republican or the Democrat. This is based off the government information here. On election day, all right, we cover that. Now, this is the scary part about all this. Okay, you're actually voting for the elector, and not just because we'll say Donald Trump was to win. It doesn't mean, it says right here, there is no constitutional provision or federal law that requires electors to vote according to the results of the popular vote in their states. Wow, that is very scary. That's something that we don't know about. They won't tell you that. So just because if more people vote for Donald Trump, he should get all of the electoral votes. Well, technically, there's no law that says these electors from the Electoral College doesn't mean that they have to vote for him. So that is a way they can steal the election from Donald Trump, which they may. The U.S. Supreme Court has held that the Constitution does not require that electors be completely free to act as they're choosing. So they can be free, but because different states have different things. Okay, today it is rare. It doesn't say it never happened. It just said today it is rare that electors would disregard their popular vote. So it says it can happen. Throughout our history as a nation, more than 99% of electors have voted as pledged. Well, that sounds good, right? Well, how about that 1%? 1% of the time, the pledge electors have not voted according to the popular vote. which is me and you. So basically, the electors are, I described before the delegates and the superdelegate system during the primaries. I don't remember if I did a video or if it was an article I wrote on my website at truemediarivals.com. So anyway, it's very similar to the delegate process, almost exactly the same actually. They're chosen by the party, and then when we went out and vote, it was actually, you got this delegate process. Well, the Electoral College is basically the same thing. And we're going to do a demonstration in a minute to help you understand what this a little bit better, why I personally don't like the Electoral College, and I'll explain why. Okay, here's one last thing for you Louisiana people tuning in. These are the states that actually have legal requirements that their delegates pledge to vote for, and according to the popular vote. So let's say Donald Trump wins the election. Some states have laws to where these delegates the electors have to vote according to the popular vote. Now, I know everything I'm showing here is actually flipped. My camera's flipped, so it's mirror image. You can't see, but there is no Louisiana on here. These are a list of all the states, and Louisiana is not one of those states with laws requiring the electors to vote the way the popular vote is. So basically, they can do whatever the hell they want. Now, we'll do a quick experiment before we go, just to show you exactly the flaws that I think from the Electoral College. Remember, it goes on a state basis. So the entire state's votes, whoever wins the entire state get the amount of delegates that they have, which is equal to the amount of senators and representatives of that state. So there are 435 representatives in Congress totally nationwide, plus 100 senators because it's 50 states. But there's actually 3 more electors because Washington, D.C. are given 3 electoral colleges. So anyways, okay, right here, to keep it simple, let's say there's 1,000, let's say this state, there's 1,000 people, okay? 400 vote for candidate A, and 600 voted for candidate B, okay? Candidate B would win. The delegates would go to candidate B, okay? Let's say this state, 900 voted for candidate A, and 100 voted for candidate B, okay? Then, of course, candidate A would get the delegate for this, all right? Now, one more place. Let's say there are 450 that voted for candidate A, 550 voted for candidate B. The electors go to candidate B, all right? So now, out of the 3, candidate B won 2, and candidate A only 1. Now, if you add up all of the wins and the losses, the popular vote was actually 1,750 to candidate A and 1,250 to candidate B. 500 more in candidate A. So the popular vote, there were 500 more votes for candidate A. But candidate B won because she won the Electoral College. The Electoral College hides votes, which is what I'm opposed to. Now, the argument for that is, let's say a large city, like Houston or Chicago or Los Angeles, they say their votes, let's say it's a more liberal area or a more conservative area than the, popular votes, popular beliefs would, outweigh the little man. But I don't necessarily agree with that because you have districts that are drawn, which is why you have your representatives and that kind of thing. So anyways, so now you know what the Electoral College is, as promised before. Thanks for watching.